Welcome back, or welcome to the channel about the Nasdaq scalping bot. It's a channel about the workings and the creating of the Nasdaq scalping bot. It's a Python program. It's my first Python program. And this channel is all about the creation of it and how it works. And in this series, I'm going to show you how I create the bot. And we are in a part that's rather juicy. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it is hard to show you guys what I have created in a more easier, simpler way, because I created as I did went along. So I did something here, and I did something there, but I try. And if you want to see, just get in and continue with the coding. If you want to do the coding yourself, it's possible, but then you also need to see the previous videos. Then you can tag along with this video. Ready? Let's go. So this is the code as we left it last video. On the end of the video, it's a non-working code. It's full of errors. You see there are three marks here, three arrows. You see that contract is red aligned. So there's a lot of erroring going on, but that's the state it's in, because I cannot do it all. You see, a lot of this is in comment style, but I'm gonna show it to you function by function. And while we're doing it, there will be less commenting and more of the loop as this go on will be revealed. And I hope so that you also understand why I did some stuff on certain points in the programming. Today, I want to show you handle a new contract. That's this function, how to handle a new contract, where based on the contract advice we did in the last video. In the last video, we handled the contract advice. That was this one, contract advice. Fetch 3 candles, the current candle, the previous candle, and roll this candle, then add a 2 or subtract 2 to the candle to make a difference between those 3 candles, and then check if the current candle is bigger than the previous and bigger than the oldest, then we have a buy. And in the opposite direction, if the current candle is smaller than the previous and the previous is smaller than the oldest, then we have a sell, and this should be returned. And it will be returned by our session advice. So this is the advice as it is right now, simply based on 3 candles in a row going up or 3 candles in a row going down. And based on that, we got a buy or a sell. Going back to the main loop, the main setup contract, we see that we have here the contract advice. Well, if, that's this if function, if the contract advice is buy or the contract advice is sell and not book continue, so there's not already a contract out, that's what this continue means. If not session book continue, it does it twice to make it sure that we have not a session. But thinking about if it's necessary, because if not, then there, this continue contract advice. Yeah, it's not necessary right now, but I'm not sure, because yeah, it's not necessary. We can leave this one away. We can leave this one. So if the contract advice is buy or the contract advice is sell, then we need to do something. And what we're going to do is handle a new contract. That's what's happening. There's an advice for buy or there's an advice for sell, then we need to create a new contract. And this function, handle a new contract, is the next function we're going to look at in this video. And let's do this. We create a function def handle new contract. Am I correct? Handle a new contract. Handle new contract. Handle underscore new underscore contract. Column. Handle a new contract is the new function we're going to talk about. What's going on in handle a new contract? I'm going to fetch the code for you. So I'll be back in a sec. And there the code is. Again, completely in common style, except the session book continue is true. That's the final one. If we have a contract open, that's what's happening here, then the session continue is true. That's where we're ending. When a contract is open, the continue is true. And while the continue is true, there will be no new contract advice and there will be no new handling of a contract. And because inside this function, we make connection with the API and getting information from the API, we're not going to use only clouding the API, and it's not good for the working of the program, of the bot, but also for other people who are depending on the API as well. So when it's not necessary, we don't going to use this new contract handling, and we don't going to use contract advice, and we don't need them at the moment that we actually have a new contract. And that's what the bool continue does. The Boolean continue is true. All the other we're going to discuss right now. What's going on right here? Well, the first is get the current with 3 R's. Oh, wow. Get the current account details and balance. That's the first action. Get account information, the account details, and it's red underlined, so we don't have this account details, but we do. It's already in our connection. There is a function that's called account details. There it is. So we already have an account details. So all we need to do is connect that to our own. So from connection, import account details. So we have connected account details in the connection to our own contract, and now we have the information. Wow. Next line. Again, a session pre-contract balance. What's the balance before we started with this contract? Of course, we want to see where we started with and where we ended with, so we can see what's the total difference between those two. I'm keen on information. I want to suck up as much information as I can get to make this bot working and make it profitable. That's the whole idea. So get the information about what is the current contract balance. It's account balance. Yeah, the pre-contract balance. I want to know. Then the next step is calculate position sizes. If you want to get out a contract, you have to give out a contract, as in how large should this contract be? Should it be 1, 2, a half, whatever, 3, 10? Maybe you want to put out a 10 contract. Yeah, okay. But what should it be? And should the contract be a buy or should the contract be a sell? At what point do you want to quit the contract, or at what point you want to get out with a profit? So the take profit margin, the stop loss margin. We all need this information, and we do this calculating. I started it with doing this myself. I didn't trust the bot, So when I started it a year ago, I did this calculating of the positions myself, and in the main screen, I entered the contract size, my stop loss size, my take profit, and then I activated the bot and then wait until something happened. Later on, as I had more and more confidence in what the bot does and how it works, better said, how much confidence I had in my own programming work and in knowing what Python does, I started to give Python and give the bot the opportunity, not only the opportunity, but the power to calculate it for me. Of course, it's on my conditions. I tell what I like to see in this position sizes, but it does it automatically for me. So I don't need it to manually. I do it automatically. This is a new function in our program, and I'm going to create it. So we have a new function, dev calculate position sizes. And in this function, we're going to create the position as we want it to be. And I'm going to fetch the code for you. And I'll be back in a sec. And we're back with this large code. Well, large, 3 lines of code with 4 lines. 4 lines of code with 4 lines of comment. So this is an entire function of 8 lines. Wow. But that's good because I did want to separate this calculation from the rest of the code so I could have easy access to it and I actually can see what's going on. And if I want to make changes, then there want to be easy changes. What's going on in this function? Well, this function calculates the position sizes. If I have a new contract and the contract is based on the current balance, that's what it's saying here, save the contract balance, the pre-contract balance, the balance I have on my account right now, and use that in the calculation of the positions. And there are 3 things we need to calculate. The first one is the contract balance, is the contract size. The second one is the take profit, and the third one is the stop loss. And the contract size is calculated on this way, but for the ones who did never do any trading, what contract size meant to be and how it's going to be. Let's say you can, if you have the money for it, you can buy 1 share of Apple. 1 is here the number we're talking about. You can buy 1 share of Apple. You can buy, if you have the money for it, 10 shares of Apple, or 10 shares of Tesla, of 10 shares of any other of the Magnificent 7 if you have money enough. But it's the number 1 or 10. But you can also, if you don't have the money for it, buy half a share of Apple, or even not half, half a share. So not 1, but 0.5. You can buy 1/10 of a share if you don't have the money for it. So to calculate how large your share buy will be, that's the basic contract size we're calculating here about. And we're doing that by using my current contract balance, subtracting 300 of it, 300 euros in this case, divide it to 1,000, and then round it down to 1 decimal. If I have a balance of 1,000, then subtracting it 300 will be 700, dividing it by 1,000 will leave us with a 0.7 account, 0.7 as the contract size. If I don't have 1,000, but I have, I will say 10,000, would be nice. 10,000. 10,000 minus the 300 divided by 1,000 will give us something around, I don't know, 7 or even 8 or 9. The contract size will be 8 or 9 shares of Nasdaq in this case. But we keep it small. We just want to make some money. It doesn't need to be a rich guy. Just it's fun to do this. So I thought with smaller numbers, we go. The base is a smaller number. So with a 300 minus and then divided by 1,000, that's what it'll be. Yeah. Then we have to take profit. Also need to calculate those. That's 1% of the current balance. I'd be cautious. It's 1%. The stop loss also 1%. The advice from everybody is to take a larger take profit than the contract balance and then the stop loss. So you make at least profit versus your stop loss. But for now, I don't care if I make a larger profit versus the stop loss. I just want to know if I make a profit. And if I make a profit by staying balanced as much stop losses as the take profits, yeah, then I can say, okay, I want to enlarge this and make this, for example, a 2% take profit versus a 1% stop loss. Then for each stop loss, I get 1 extra take profit. But that's not for now. It's for later on. Then I'm going to look if I need to change these numbers. Once again, testing this. And the tests are each working day on Twitch. So you can see me testing over there. But that's what it is. So this function gives me 3 numbers: the number contract size, the take profit, and the stop loss. So that's what I get here in the calculating positions. Then get the active account. Strange, should not be needed. That's my comment along with it. It should not have been needed, but it is. So I'm going to activate the account. I guess it's a guess because I don't know for sure. I guess when you're not active on your account for several minutes or so, it will not close your account, not close your session, but make it in a pause that you don't need it. So if you're actually going to use your session, then it's going to reopen the session. And that's why I think you need the active account, so you can reactivate your session, what you have with the API. So that's the active account. I don't do anything else with it, just active account. Then we're creating the payload to send to the API. And the payload will be an epic US 100, Nasdaq, as I say, but you can change it in anything you want it to. The direction, session contract advice. The advice is either a buy or a sell. So we fill in the direction. Then the contract size, 0.7 if it is 1,000. A level 20, don't know why, but the example says it's a 20. I didn't change it in 10 or 40 or 100, so I don't know what's good for, but I leave it at 20. Then the type is a limit, as in let it go, not a guaranteed. If you do a guaranteed, you get a guaranteed some kind of a profit, but you lose a lot on it too, so just leave it to limit. Then the actual stop amount, so the stop loss, and the profit amount to take profit. And I know there is also the option not to use stop amount and profit amount, but the stop distance and profit distance, as in how many pips difference there should be. I tried this already. Maybe I'm going to try it some more in later future. Again, on Twitch, I'm going to test this. But for now, I'm using the amounts, and I know that the amount of 1% is about 15, 16, or 17 pips difference. So if I change it, I could make it 15 or 16, but an amount for me right now in this phase, testing phase, it's good enough. Then if we have the payload, we actually need to create the position, on the API, on the market. That's what this function do. Then we get the contract ID. If we create a position, I want to know what is the ID of that contract. So if I need to close the contract, that I can close the correct one. So I need the contract ID that we get open positions. This give me the contract ID. Then I store the current contract for the contract advice. These are two different session storage. The contract advice is the advice as it is during the checking if there is a valid contract. So this could be a buy, a sell, or a hold. But this one is the current contract. This is the one that's going to show up in my screen as this is the contract that we opened 1 minute ago, 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. I don't care, but this is the contract we opened, and we're waiting until this contract is finished. So this is the difference. This is the current contract advice, and this is the current contract as it's already active on the market. So two different contracts, but that's the difference between the two of them, the current contract active and the contract advice. Then I have two, and I'll leave them both in comment. That is the log contract conditions, to log under what kind of conditions the actual starting the contract, to check later on under what condition restarting, and where there's good conditions to make a profitable contract, or bad conditions. So we had a losing contract, and the more you know about the conditions, the more you know under what good circumstances you had profitable contracts, then you can work to it. You can change your contract size, you can change your contract advice to these new conditions to create better contracts who are profitable. So the logging is also interesting to do, but that's for a later moment in the videos. Then I will explain how to log this entire session into a CSV file. Good. Where do we stand? Yes, I'm talking too much, but that's not the problem. We have, this is the contract, with what's happening, getting the information, calculating the sizes, get an activation account, dump the contract actually on the market by creating this payload, by creating the payload and dumping it on the market by create position, get the open position, save the current contract in a session, and place the book continue in a true condition, so we don't do this every time there is already a contract out. What's missing? What's missing are those 4 red lines: active account, the JSON, and the open position and create position. Those functions aren't available except for JSON. So I'm going to import JSON. Import JSON, that is 1 red less. And now we have the active account and the other account all connected to the connection. And this means that in the connection, we need to create those three functions. Let me fetch those for you. And we'll be back in a sec. And it's a sec already. I think it's less than a second that I'm back, but it sounds nice. Be back in a sec. Hey, the new functions in our connection are the functions we need to communicate with the API. I have all those together in one Python file, so that's easier to look at. And we have new ones, and the new ones is the first one we're going to see is the active account function. The active account makes a connection with the demo base URL, dumps the account ID, places the headers with security token and CST token and application JSON, makes a request with the put the session into. So that's why I say I think it's reactivating the session. Get a response from the connection, get response, and the response will be read out into the data, but I don't do anything with the data. I don't do anything. It's just activating the account again. It's okay. I'm doing it, but there's nothing to it. Then the next one, we have create position or create contract. It's maybe the better word to change this into create contract. Create contract, make a request. That's the request function we already have. This one, make request. And in the make request, we're going to put, active account, wrong. We're going to post on the position side our payload. And the payload was a payload as in the contract size, the stop loss, and the take profit. That's what this function do, posting it. Along, I brought along also the close position with the deal ID, as in I want to stop a position. That's sometimes I want to do that. I'm going to explain that in later videos. But then I want to close a position. Then again, I'm going to make a request, this time with a delete, with position and the deal ID. And the deal ID is the ID belonging to the contract we opened. And to get those, we need a function called the get position. I created the get position. Again, active account, because we need to reactivate the account after several minutes. Then we create a connection again with the demo base. There is no payload. The headers are the same. Security token, CST token, application. There's nothing different. Then the request we put in is a get. And then we want to have a get of the positions with no payload and the headers. The response we can get will be the response we get from our request will be stored in the response. If the response status is not 200, so some reason we didn't get the response we want to, while the response is not 200, take a nap, 5 seconds, and then try again. Get again the response, check if it's 200. No, it's not. Okay, then sleep again, etc., until the response status is 200. So the while is 200. Then, and this rather complex, I say it myself, then you have the response. You read the response into your data. That's what's going to be. Then your data is loaded and decoded with the JSON decode function into your positions data. Inside the positions data, if there is a position, yeah, wow, in the data, if in the library, yeah, in the library, if in the library is a positions data and the length of that position data is larger than 0, then the deal ID, the actual ID of the contract, is from the position data inside the position, the 0 position deal ID. And that returns the deal ID we need. You get it? I'll leave it on. Press pause if you want to see it, but it's rather complicated. We have data. We decode the data into positions. Inside the position, we need to check if there is a position larger than 0. That's this 0. If there actually is a position, then inside positions, we need the position and on the deal ID. Yeah, and that's because there could be several positions opening. I get it why they did it. If you have 4 or 5 positions, you can see what each position is. But in my case, I only work with 1 position at a time. I could open several positions if I want to, but I don't. I just keep it at 1 position at a time, looking at it, making profit. If profit is there, close the position and go on with the next. I don't need 4 or 5 positions and then waiting until some of the position is profitable in a good position and then close it. And no, I don't. I don't. Just simple, easy, but look, there's an opportunity, buy or sell. Look at the buy or sell. Do we have a profit? Good. Close the position, get out, ready, look again, next, next position, and so on and so on. That's the way we work. That's how I built the bot. It's not based on get in low, wait until the highest position possible and sell high, like you should be, as in buy low, sell high, or if you go short, buy high, sell low, and then you get your profit from that. This bot is built on, like we say, on getting a take profit, and that's it. And if it's a higher take profit, if we could take more of it, it could be, but that's not the aim. It's not the goal of the bot. It's just getting profit and getting out. That's it. So we only open 1 position at a time, and that's why we do this. And we have the 1 position, and 1 is always the 0 in a library, dictionary, or an array, whatever you prefer to say. So we have three new functions: create position, close position, get open position, and active account. And we need active account, create position, and get open position. Those 3 we need. So we're going to import them too. Active account. There it is. We need create position. That's it. And we need get open position. Those 3 are now from the connection imported into the contracts. And then we have this function, handle a new contract, finished for now. We need to log, but for now, this is enough to do your stuff. Going back to set up a contract, that's our main loop, our main thing we do each time. We have done now this part. We have done a contract advice. We have advice buy or sell. And based on that, we have handle a new contract. Then we can have an else. There is a contract open. That's what we have here. The bool continue is not, it's not a false. It's not, it's, it's true. Yeah. If the bool continue is true, then we're gonna look at a function that's called handle existing contract. And how we're gonna do that, we're gonna do this in the next video. Then you're gonna see how the handle existing contract is in this function, how it looks like and how it works. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, press a like. If you want to see more and you want to keep in check, then you hit the subscription button too. While you're down there, look in the description. You find my Twitch address on Twitch TV, so you can follow me on Twitch daily during market hours. And you'll also find the new, how could I say it? It's also a link. Yes, it's also a link to the Discord community if you want to join me on Discord and chat with me in Discord and look at it and get advice about this bot and maybe join it. So hopefully see you there. And if not, then I hopefully see you in the next video. Have fun.